Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Tuesday here on our YouTube channel. Now, today we're going to start a new thing for the Congress. As you know, we've got a Congress coming up on the 18th, 19th, 20th of February, and we should start preparing for it already. So this Tuesday and next Tuesday, what we're going to do is get ready as best we can. So we're going to read selected excerpts, and we're going to start from the selected excerpts for lesson one. If you have questions, as usual, you can shoot them through. If you're new to our YouTube channel, feel free to watch the 3 semesters to the introduction of the wisdom of Kabbalah that we have here. And if you like what you see and hear, you can go to Kabbalah.info and join the KABU Academy, and we'll study Kabbalah with like-minded people from all around the world. So without further ado, let's get started. This is selected excerpts for the 10 as a requisite for adhesion. We're going through the selected excerpts. Selected excerpts number 1 from Rabash. We need a society that will form a great force so we can work together on annulling the will to receive called evil, as it hinders the achievement of the goal for which man was created. For this reason, the society must consist of individuals who unanimously agree that they must achieve it. Then all the individuals become one great force, where one can fight against oneself, since each one is incorporated in everyone else. Thus, each person is founded on a great desire to achieve the goal. To be integrated in one another, each person should annul himself before the others. This is done by each seeing the friend's merits and not their faults. But one who thinks that he's a little higher than his friends can no longer unite with them. Let's read it a second time. Excerpt number 1 from Rabash, Purpose of Society number 2. We need a society that will form a great force so we can work together on annulling the will to receive called evil, as it hinders the achievement of the goal for which man was created. For this reason, the society must consist of individuals who unanimously agree that they must achieve it. Then all the individuals become one great force, where one can fight against oneself, since each one is incorporated in everyone else. Thus each person is founded on a great desire to achieve the goal. To be integrated in one another, each person should annul himself before the others. This is done by each seeing the friend's merits and not their faults. But one who thinks that he's a little higher than his friends can no longer unite with them. All right, so this is from one of the fundamental articles of Rabash, Purpose of Society. As you know, the wisdom of Kabbalah teaches us that we have a purpose in life, that the whole of creation was created for a specific person, to raise an individual to the degree of the creator, where one can also bestow, perceive, and feel reality just like the creator does himself. So in order to achieve that, we have to exit our, what he calls here, the evil, which is our egoism, the will to receive for ourselves, that is. So we have to have a bunch of friends around us in order to have strength to go against our nature. Because human nature wants to receive. Human nature wants things their way. And the Kabbalists are saying, well, if we're always thinking about ourselves and our self-benefit, we are completely against the nature of the Creator, which is just thinking of others and love of others. So the only way to really stop thinking about myself is if I have other people around me that I can pay some importance to, that I can give some importance to and pay some attention to. All right, and what's the best way to do that? He's saying, well, if I want to get out of myself and start thinking of others, what I have to do is get some strength from other people around me. And a technique he teaches us here is to see the merits of the friends and not their faults. By default, our nature is always prone to think negatively about other people. And if I keep thinking negatively or seeing the faults in others, let's say, not necessarily thinking negatively of somebody else, but if I always see the faults in others and if I constantly criticize and complain about others, there's no way I can connect with anybody because this is already telling, well, I'm already telling myself that I'm better than other people when I criticize them. And there's no way to connect with that kind of an attitude with other people. So if somebody wants to really enhance their spiritual growth and get out of themselves, what they have to do is get closer to loving other people. And that's the first article. Now, if there are any questions, you guys let me know and we'll try to answer them. All right, so I'll keep it here. Okay. Right, so let's move on to excerpt number 2. This is from Mao Veshemesh, from the portion Ekev. Let's read. It is known that in every 10 there is divinity, and this is a complete level. And in a complete level, there is a head, hands, legs, and heels. It follows that when every person regards himself as nothing in society, then he regards himself as a heel compared to the society, while they are the head, the body, and the higher organs. When each one thinks of himself in this way, they make the gates of abundance, and every lushness in the world open up to them. And the most important is that righteous who can best grasp a discernment that is more null than all of them. Through him all the abundance flows. Let's read it again. It is known that in every 10, well, which is the group of people I study with, right? The 10. There is divinity. So if there's love of friends between us, there is divinity, which is the creator, right? Divinity is the attribute of love and bestowal that is felt that's felt among us, and we actually live in such a sensation. Currently, we're living in our egoistic nature, in our egoistic sensation. So it's very difficult for us to connect with anybody. I mean, we only connect with other people for self-benefit, and that's not a connection, really. In a complete level, there are head, hands, legs, and heels. So it's like a one full attainment, degree of attainment. It follows that when every person regards himself as nothing in society, then he regards himself as a heel compared to the society, while they're the head, the body, and the higher organs. So I have to come to a state. Obviously, I can't just do it because he's writing it here. I can't just consider myself as the lowest person in society, in the group that I'm working with when we're talking about society. I can't just consider myself as the lowest person there. I have to work with them in order to reveal my egoistic nature. And once I reveal my egoistic nature, only then can I feel like they're higher than me and I am low. Otherwise, I can't. So Rabash writing it here is a sign as to what kind of an understanding, what kind of a feeling, sensation we need to get to. So it requires a lot of work actually from the side of the person, because just think of it for a moment. How much of my self-love, how much of my egoism I have to nullify all the time in order to actually feel, in order to actually see and then feel how lowly my nature is. And because our default nature is egoism, self-love and egoism, In our current reality, we feel that, the better we are from other people compared to other people, I feel better about myself. However, in the wisdom of Kabbalah, that's already leading the world into darkness and all kinds of horrific things that we're going through. So the more I annul my self-love, and if we all do that in the group, then we have an opportunity to actually feel life in a different sensation, not from not from a self-absorbing point of view, but a more open, wide spectrum of feelings, because I'm now feeling other people as well, because I care about them. And if I didn't, I'd be living like in my little box, like in a matchbox, let's say, like a little ant. When each one thinks of himself in this way, they make the gates of abundance and every lushness in the world open up to them. So if everybody was to value everybody else instead of valuing themselves, then the world would be an amazing place, is what he's trying to tell us. And the most important is that righteous who can best grasp a discernment that is more null than all of them. Through him all the abundance flows. So the more I actually reduce my self-love, the more abundance can flow from me to everybody else, and obviously from everybody else to me as well. Then we become one. Then we become one connected society. Right. Let's take a look at the next excerpt here. Excerpt number 3 from Rabash. The article is called "What to Look For in the Assembly of Friends." The friends should primarily speak together about the greatness of the Creator, because according to the greatness of the Creator, that one assumes, so that to that extent, he naturally annuls himself before the Creator. Thus, the friends' discussions of the greatness of the Creator awaken a desire and yearning to annul before the Creator, because he begins to feel longing and desire to bond with the Creator. And we should also remember that to the extent that the friends can appreciate the importance and greatness of the Creator, we should still go above reason, meaning that the Creator is higher than any greatness of the Creator that one can imagine. We should say that we believe above reason that He leads the world in a benevolent guidance. And if one believes that the Creator wants only man's best, it makes a person love the Creator until he is rewarded with, "And you will love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul." And this is what a person must receive from the friends. Right, let's read it again. Okay, Ingrid's asking, "Hello, why should one see friends higher? Whom does one then bestow?" Well, that's a nice question. For me to see the friends higher than me, I need to see how bad my egoism is. And this is the only way I can see how bad my egoism is. And if I don't see my ego as a bad thing, then I won't really have a desire to change myself. Okay? Remember, let's start with the purpose of creation. The purpose of creation is to reach adhesion with the Creator, because the Creator wants to bestow to a person all the good that there is. And from the Creator's perspective, all the good that there is only attainable if we exist in reality like the Creator Himself. However, because our current nature by default, our factory settings are self-love and egoism, there's no way to receive anything good. This is why our whole life, in society, personally, with everything we see in life, is chaotic non-harmonious and quite sad, really. Okay. So how can I get out of my self-love so that I can feel reality from a different perspective called love and bestowal instead of self-love and reception? How can I see the world through the love of others and bestowing to others? That can only happen when I try to love other people. And when I try to love other people, I begin to see genuinely that I have no inclination to love others, no desire to love others, and I particularly don't really care about others. So once I begin to see that, on the one hand, I see my lowliness, right? That's my lowliness. But on the other hand, because I'm working with a bunch of other people and I'm seeing all of them make an effort to change themselves, and I see how much they try to support each other with all the chaotic ups and downs of mundane life we're going through. They're still holding on to the goal, trying to achieve something, at least doing something, even if it's really small, just to get out of our egoism a little bit. That allows me to feel myself as low and them as great, which then allows me to value the goal because I see others valuing the goal. And now I can value the goal easier. Why? Because on the one hand, I see how horrific my personal situation is. Okay, does that make sense? Okay, I begin to see I'm sick. And I begin to see that I'm in a sick world. But I'm with a bunch of friends who want to get better. They want to heal themselves. And when everybody's making an effort, I begin to value them because it impacts me positively. All right. That is why. All right. Let's read excerpt number 3 again. He partially answers your question here as well. The friends should primarily speak together about the greatness of the Creator, because according to the greatness of the Creator that one assumes, to that extent, he naturally annuls himself before the Creator. Thus, the friends' discussions of the greatness of the Creator awaken a desire and yearning to annul before the Creator. Now, annulling before the Creator means I annul my egoism to the attribute of love and bestowal. It means I make bestowal a greater priority than self-reception. You can begin to understand how opposite this is to our nature. Thus, the friends' discussions of the greatness of the Creator awaken a desire and yearning to annul before the Creator, because he begins to feel longing and desire to bond with the Creator. Because the more we talk about the goal, the more we make it important to ourselves, it creates a longing in a person. This is really important because where we're really going to get a desire from, how can I get a desire to bestow? It's just like not possible. How can I even try to make it important for me? Not possible. I can't sit down on my own and make this important for me, but we can certainly talk about it. We can certainly think about how to increase the love of friends, how to increase among us the importance of the goal. Those things we can talk about. And the more we interact with this particular topic, then it starts to become more and more important for us, doesn't it? It becomes more important because we're like all focused on this. We just want to get this done. And we begin to understand also that all of the calamities, all the problems that we have in life basically is because of one reason. And that's because we're egoists. And that is the only reason. Because if everybody thinks of themselves, it's obvious we're all going to have a problem. Right? So within a controlled environment where we're studying the laws of nature, human connection, human nature, through these discussions, through the things that we're going through, we begin to feel, understand, and appreciate that love of others is the only way that can save our necks. We should say that we believe above reason that he leads the world in a benevolent guidance. And if one believes that the Creator wants only man's best, it makes a person love the Creator until he is rewarded with, and you will love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul. And this is what a person must receive from the friends. All right, so that's the whole idea of working together and studying together. Going above reason means that I want to go above my self-interest because reason always dictates to us I should do what's best for me. So going above reason is when I, with the help of the friends, because this is where I need to get some strength, need to go above my desire to receive for myself. I have to make others more important to me than myself. All right. Now, going above reason is a story on its own. But if I'm with a group of people who are always focused on thinking about each other, and then it makes it easier because then we can all do it together. But if I'm on my own, I can't do it together. Okay, I can't do it on my own, basically. Only if there is mutual connection, mutual desire, action, intention in that direction, we can kind of like get strength from each other to do it. Okay, and this is what a person must receive from the friends, the importance of the Creator, meaning the importance of the love of others. Excerpt number 4. Okay. This is from Rabash, article number 251, concerning the 10. Concerning the 10 that is there for the prayer. Our sages said you're all called man and not the nations of the world, since their sole aim is to receive for themselves. This is the meaning of when the Creator comes to the place of worship and does not find 10 men there, meaning that there will be someone there who will pray for the quality of the 10, which is the holiness. So she will rise from her exile. For by engaging with the desire to bestow, one raises divinity from the dust. But when each one cares for his personal needs, the Creator is angry. He brings evidence from the verse, as was said, why have I come and there's no man? To care for the needs that pertain to the quality of man and cares only to satisfy the needs that pertain to the quality of a beast. Rather, one should always answer to himself for whom he spends his time and for whom he exerts, for he should be concerned only with the needs of the collective. Let's read that again. Our sages said you are called man and not the nations of the world. Okay, so man, Adam, is one who is similar to the Creator, one who can bestow to the Creator. But if we can't bestow still, but we want to get to bestowal, we are still considered as man because we're engaging in this topic. Right? And we take a look at the rest of the world, 8 billion people. You can see they're not engaging with this. Only a few people are engaging with the love of others in order to raise themselves to the purpose of creation. So only those who aspire to be like the Creator are called man. This is the meaning of when the Creator comes to the place of worship and does not find 10 men there, meaning that there will be someone there who will pray for the quality of the 10, which is divinity. So she will rise from her exile, for by engaging with the desire to bestow, one raises divinity from the dust. But when each one cares for his personal needs, the Creator is angry. So a group must always focus on attaining the purpose of life, which is attaining the attribute of bestowal just like the Creator is bestowing. And if we don't do that, well, we're lacking behind. So it says the Creator is angry. Obviously, we can't kind of depict to ourselves why or how the Creator can be angry. But we need to think of these things in terms of laws of nature. We're either adaptable to the laws of nature and we flow in harmony with the laws of nature, or we don't. When we don't, we have a problematic life. We have a problematic society, problematic humanity. Thus, all the violence, wars, and all the crooked things we do is simply because we are going on the path of more egoism and more destruction rather than the direction which we should be going in, which is love and bestowal. And that anger is the state we're living in right now. How the world is chaotic and full of problems. So we mustn't think of the Creator as somebody like Father Christmas up on the clouds and he's angry with us or whatever. That's not the case. The case is that we're living inside a system which we need to adapt to, which we need to flow with in harmony, and our lack or inability to do so has consequences. He brings evidence from the verse, as was said, "Why have I come and there is no man to care for the needs that pertain to the quality of man, and cares only to satisfy the needs that pertain to the quality of a beast?" Rather, one should always answer to himself for whom he spends his time and for whom he exerts, for he should be concerned only with the needs of the collective. Right? So what we have to do is constantly be thinking about the well-being of the collective. Now, this might sound, not might, it does sound illogical and perhaps crazy, but if you think about it, it's actually quite logical. When we're in a family, we're taking care of everybody, right? Everybody's looking after everybody. And what makes a healthy family is when everybody's doing their part to complete each other so that the family can function with, love and warmth. And if we fail to do so, it leads to breakup families, right? Broken families, lost children, all kinds of dramas and problems. So the group is like a family as well. It's like a little model, right? Model of a family or model of humanity. So the more we complete each other and work to make everybody else kind of like flow and get connected and be well, then we are going with the laws of nature, because laws of nature dictates that everything is integral. Everything is connected to everything. And if we break that connection, we have problems. All right. And that's the same kind of laws of nature that we need to abide by. Like I said, failure to do so is just going to give us more grief. And there's really no way to get out of it if we don't change. Another question from Ingrid. If one sees the friends trying to bestow to each other and feels bad in her ego, does then this mean one is changing for the better, or what should one do with this feeling, and what is my part here? Well, if you see the friends trying to bestow to each other and you feel bad in your ego, that's not a bad thing. That's exactly what we want to get to. Okay. Remember in the first paragraph, we talked about seeing the greatness of the friends, right? I can't see others greater if I don't see myself lower, right? So seeing myself as not bestowing, but they're trying to bestow and they're doing what they can, and I'm not, it creates this gap between us, which allows me to actually hate the evil over time. It won't happen immediately, but over time, the more this accumulates, you just begin to hate your egoistic nature. And this is a good thing because in reality, everything, as you know, is like two opposite things, right? So where there's hate, there's an attraction to love, or there's an aspiration to love. So if a person hates the evil that they see in them, which is our egoistic nature, then we can aspire to get out of it. We can aspire to move towards the love of others. And that aspiration is exactly what I should be taking from the group. So it's a good thing, and it's actually an advancement. As we advance in the wisdom of Kabbalah, we should reveal more and more evil. A lot of people in spiritual teachings have the idea that as they advance, they should feel more elevated. Like, I don't know, what they imagine for themselves. Maybe have a pair of wings flying in the sky or whatever. All these things they call nirvana. I'm out there somewhere, you know, completely disconnected. I don't, in the wisdom of Kabbalah, it's not like that. In the wisdom of Kabbalah, Kabbalah is called the wisdom of truth, right? So we want to see the truth. And the truth is we're all egoists, which makes us all really, really bad. And I won't want to escape from anything if I don't see it's bad. So seeing the sick state that I'm in allows me to look for a remedy, a medicine, something that can change me. And that's the whole idea. So by aspiring to the love of others, by connecting with others, trying to love others, I begin to reveal the oppositeness to that. And then that should bring me to a heartfelt prayer. And that is really important to understand because um, only through, only through um, seeing the sickness can I go to a doctor. If I don't feel bad, normally we don't go to a doctor. But if I begin to feel sick, I start to look for a medicine. So we need to understand that our sickness as humans is our human nature of egoism. If we don't fix it, we're just going to end up in a big mess over and over and over again. So it's good that you see it. Okay. What should you do with the feeling? Well, if you observe it, you look at it, you acknowledge it, then you reveal the truth. Now you're at a crossroads. Now you can say, okay, this is the state I'm in. I don't want to drown myself in a feeling of badness, right? I don't want to feel like I'm bad. I don't want to beat myself. I don't want to cry all day long. I just want to understand the state I'm in. If I understand that's my state, I can also have a good excuse. I have a good excuse. I didn't create myself. So the creator created me. So it's not my fault that I'm egoist. It's not my fault that I'm bad. The fault here is this on the side of humanity. I see I'm bad and I don't want to change. Okay. So seeing the bad, seeing our human nature is not something to be, drowning ourselves in sorrow about. Obviously, we're not happy about the situation, but um, we should be happy that we're seeing the truth. All right. If I'm happy that I see the truth and I do something about it to overcome this evil, then I've used my freedom of choice, freedom of will, and I use the environment to correct myself and go above that evil I've just revealed to myself. Right? So it's a good thing. Good thing. All right. Just don't drown in your sorrow about it. Understand it's there. This is what we came to study and reveal. And once we reveal these things, we should be moving forward in life and trying to correct ourselves and going forward and forward. And the more you go forward, then what's going to happen? Well, you're going to reveal more evil. And then you'll want to overcome that as well. Just like when children are growing, they're always encountering more and more problems. Okay. And by overcoming these problems, they grow up. Same with us. So it's a good thing. All right. Just keep the work going, flowing. And this should allow you to accumulate little by little. It should bring you to want to change. Okay. All right, so that's that. So let's read number um, 5, I think. Number 5, Rabash article, number 28. A congregation is no less than a 10. In every 10 there's divinity. This is known that Malkut is called the 10th. It is also known that the receiving Kli is also called Sephira Malchut, who is the 10th Sephira. Receiving the upper abundance, she's called will to receive, and all the creatures extend only from her. For this reason, a congregation is no less than a 10, since all the corporeal branches extend from the upper roots. Therefore, according to the rule, there is no light that does not have 10 Sephiroth in corporeality. Something is not considered a congregation that can be regarded as important unless there are 10 men there, such as the upper degrees. All right, let's read that again. So that 10th obviously comes from the 10th Sephiroth, right? It's known that Malkut is called the 10th, the last of the 10 Sephiroth. It is also known that the receiving vessel is called the Sephira Malchut, who is the 10th Sephira, receiving the upper abundance. So in the 10, each individual is Malchut, and everybody else, with respect to the individual, is the upper 9. Right? So let's say I'm in a 10, which I am. I'm Malchut, and all my friends are the upper 9. Right? They're all bestowing to me, and I'm the Malchut. She's called the will to receive, and all the creatures extend only from her. So our nature is just the will to receive. For this reason, a group is no less than a 10, since all the corporeal branches extend from the upper roots. Therefore, according to the rule, there's no light that does not have 10 Sephiroth. In corporeality, something is not considered a 10 or a congregation, let's say, that can be regarded as important unless there are 10 men there. 10 men, obviously, this is not a gender thing. Man is, he defined it for us in the previous one. Remember, he said a man is a person who wants to be like the creator. So it's not a gender thing, it's an inclination thing. Then they're such as the upper degrees. All right. So if there's a group of 10 people, each one considers themselves as Malchut, and all the others are the upper 9. So they're all influencing me, bestowing on me, and everybody else is bestowing on everybody else. And that's called a group, a congregation, where everybody is really working for the benefit of the others. That's what a 10 is. Everybody is working for the benefit of everybody else. Okay, Marin is asking, what is the best way to use society to correct myself? Because I'm revealing more evil. Well, the best way to use the society is to really integrate, get your head in there. All right, stick your head in the group, get in there and get influenced as much as you can. And the more evil the more egoism, that's what we're calling evil, right? The more self-love I reveal, this really allows me to turn to the creator. What does that mean as well? It allows me to build a desire to change into something else. That's what a prayer is, right? A prayer isn't in spirituality something like they describe to themselves in religions. In spirituality, a prayer is a desire. So the more I'm seeing myself as an egoist, then the more I'm like feeling I need to change, and I really feel like I need to change and get out of this state. So it's really a good thing. So the more you're integrated with them, the group should definitely influence you more and more. And this is why we study every day as well, right? So just before the lesson today, for example, every evening, I've got a meeting with the 10 for half an hour. We've got a meeting every lunchtime for 15 minutes. We're all in the morning lesson. So we're always like connected a few times during the day where we can all get an impression about how the friends are doing the best they can to help each other out. And I see them working and I see myself as well. I'm really bad. I should contribute a little bit more. Okay. Every time that is also what I feel. How my laziness overtakes me, how I don't want to do things, and so on. So all of these things are part of the journey, and I wouldn't feel any of those things if I wasn't in the group. All right. All right, guys, let's call it a day. Okay, so we finished item number 5. We're on item number 6. We'll carry on next week. Okay. And hopefully you guys will have a good week, and we'll see you guys next time. All the best. Bye bye.